Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to see you again and again. And today is the last day for the online course. Today, I am really delighted to see all my good friends, my online good friends, starting from Dr. J. Subramanian in the screen first. And we have right now 60 plus participants in the group. And I'm happy that you are all very serious. You are all very sincere in attending the sessions, and hope that all the lectures are uploaded in the YouTube, and you can download and you can also listen. The link is given in the university website. So before I am going to welcome Dr. Devanathan, just one or two announcement. My dear participants, after 4 o'clock in the evening, as per Indian time, after 4 o'clock in the evening, just listen. You can download your e-certificates from the Annamalai University official website. The link will be sent to you in the WhatsApp group, or the link will be sent to simultaneously your email also. So kindly wait. Suppose by any chance, if you are unable to download your e-certificates, don't worry, don't be in a hurry, and we will rectify all the issues. Our technical team are constantly working. So even after 4 o'clock, the participants of the Fundamental Rights and Fundamental Duties group can download e-certificates from the university websites. The link will be sent to you soon in the WhatsApp group. And another thing is, if you have any feedback, if it is not possible for you to share in the Zoom meeting, kindly send your feedback to the email address of the department, so that we can get some input from you also. We can further improve, we can further enrich our academic journey also. So with these few words, my dear friends, let me have the privilege of introducing my good friend. I should say that my one of the old age and traditional good friend, Dr. D. Devanathan. So we were classmates in MA Political Science, and in PhD also we were classmates. And one of the serious teacher and thinker, and we used to say lateral thinking. So when Shaktivel is thinking on the one line, he will think on the different line. And having a good experience in social welfare administration, especially the marginalized community, and he has completed more than 4 major research projects funded by UGC, ICSSR, having a rich experience in traveling not only in India, in abroad also. SAR recently has visited Abu Dhabi 2 months before, as a part of academic assignment assigned by the university, Annamalai University. So such a wonderful friend, my beloved brother is in the studio with a few words. Now I request Dr. Devanathan to talk about fundamental rights, fundamental duties in Indian Constitution. So he will brief and he will narrate with the help of a PowerPoint. So as usual, the PowerPoint will be also uploaded. Now it's time. Dr. Devanathan, please.
Good morning, friends. I am very much happy to sit before you to discuss about fundamental duties of this online program entitled Fundamental Rights and Duties. Before my lectures, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to my good friend Dr. P. Shaktivel, who is introduced me to you. And I convey my thanks to the organizing committee and participant of these online programs. Thank you. Fundamental duties is one of the important aspect in our Indian Constitution, and also untouched area in our constitutions. So I take this topic broadly discuss about the importance of fundamental duties in this situation. Why we are discussing about the fundamental duties? Most of the people are frequently use the fundamental rights, but not discussing about, think about the fundamental duties. If we are violated by the fundamental duties, rights, we can approach the court for remedies with the help of constitutional remedies. But we cannot approach the court when we affect by the fundamental duties. Parliament is the responsible for providing the remedies to fundamental duties. Before discussing the fundamental duties, we should understand the brief about the Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution is one of the biggest constitution, lengthiest constitution in the world, which has 448 articles, 25 parts, 12 schedules, and more than 103 amendments, which is argued by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and his team. It is adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. It came into force on 26 January 1950. Fundamental duties, fundamental rights has legal value, but fundamental duties have moral values. Fundamental duties are included, recent not in the original constitution, later it was included in our constitution, the article 51A part 4 of our constitution. In the original constitution we have 10 fundamental duties, later one was included in the fundamental duties as 11th fundamental duties. I will tell the 86th amendment in 2002. Fundamental duties are the novel feature of our Indian Constitution in the recent times. Originally, the Constitution did not contain these duties. With the help of Soren Sen Committee in 1976, recommended to include the fundamental duties in the Indian Constitution. Now we are going to discuss about the fundamental duties one by one. First, to abide by the Constitution. Why we abide by the Constitution? India, already I told you, the Indian Constitution is the biggest constitution. It is not easy to prepare. Our constitutional framers worked hard and borrowed many important aspects from other foreign countries and include and construct our constitutions. Our constitution is a legal book. Our constitution is a guide to bring and establish good governance. The constitution is a legal book, so we abide. The time of constitutional framers, birthday or death anniversary, we should respect them. When the time we should discuss about the importance of the constitutions, how to strengthen the constitutions, organize conference, seminars, workshop at the time of constitutional days, constitutional founders days. And we should respect our national flag. Why we respect our national flag? Flags indicate the identity of the individual, the group, nations. Our national flag identify the saffron color that shows our sacrifice. The green color shows our natural resources. White color shows our rich traditions and heart of the Indians. And blue Ashoka Chakra reflects our rich traditions. Then we respect our national anthem. Our national anthem, Janagana Managana, is written by Rabindranath Tagore, who wrote Gitanjali for he received Nobel Prize. He is the first person to wrote two national anthems for different countries, India and Pakistan. Bangladesh. We respect national flag and we respect our national anthem. And we should respect our freedom to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom. We got independence in 1947. It's not a easy task. Irrespective of all the countries except India, most of the countries got their independence with the help of violence. Our country only our country got independence with the help of non-violence. Our freedom fighters gave their heart, soul, life for our freedom. Now we are enjoying all the rights, but during the British period, our people did not enjoy any rights. Our British rulers, up to their level best, still looted our natural resources. For recapturing our natural resources, our freedom fighters gave their lives. So we should respect their sacrifice and we should organize conference, seminars, special lectures and common programs to create awareness about the freedom fighters and their sacrifice to our youngsters. To uphold and protect sovereignty, unity, and integrity of nations. Sovereignty is a supreme power, highest power. There is no power beyond this power. In England, the unwritten constitution gave the sovereignty power to their parliament. In USA, that constitution gave the sovereignty power to their president. But in India, our constitution give the sovereignty power to the people of India. We the people of India, we the sovereign. We are directly and indirectly elect our prime minister and the president. We are the sovereign. And the unity and the integrity of our nations. You know very well about. We have geographically disintegrated. You can see Himalayas, this is the top side, and also Silent Valley in Kerala. Thar Desert is Rajasthan, Cherrapunji is there. There are mixed geographical locations we have. And not only geographically, culturally, religious-wise, lingual-wise, caste-wise, we are disintegrated. But we, the people of India, this concept, we should unite and integrate, work for integrity of our nations. We should not give any option to the separatist movement. We should not directly and indirectly involve in the encouraging the separatist movement, separatist organization. We should work for integration of India. Our department also started one journal. Its name is called Journal of Integration Studies. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. During the man-made calamities or natural calamities, the government officials, defense forces, doctors, police, nurses, and other people not only work for the panic situations, but we the youngsters up to their level best to contribute our role to remove all these man-made and natural calamities. For that, school education and college education encourage the student involved in the NCC and the NSS. These two and the Scout, These organizations encourage the students to have up to the level best work for the countries. Next, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood. We have more than 8 religions. We have plenty of languages. We have plenty of caste systems. But with the language, caste, race, religions, these social elements are work for bringing the communal harmony. But some people are used these religion, caste, race, language, region for their parochial interests. They are divide the people. But the fundamental duties encourage to promote the harmony, religious harmony, caste harmony, lingual harmonies. In this context, we can establish the common brotherhood. We should encourage the common brotherhood. Also, our constitution also encourage the first letter of our constitution, we the people of India, even though we belong to different religion, different caste, different colors, we the people of India. That the fundamental duties encourage the promote the common harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Most of the Western countries are moving towards to learn the Indian cultures. But in India, we are gradually diluting our rich culture of heritage. But in these situations, the fundamental duties, this one of the important duties for us to encourage our rich heritage and culture and work for to regain our rich heritage and cultures, to promote, to protect, to improve the natural environmentals. We have traditional and modern technologies to preserve, to promote our natural resource environments. But then after globalization period, most of the foreign companies, foreign countries come to India to occupy our natural resources areas. They are looting our natural resources. We are diluting our natural protecting agencies. In those situations, we should work for to protect our natural environments. We have biggest uh, forest areas. We have many mountains, hills. We have rivers, ponds, etc., etc. These are our natural resources. We up to level best we protect our mountains, hills, forest areas, natural water areas. Water is one of the important aspect in this situation. We work to promote our natural environmental conditions. To develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reforms. We more than 3,000 years before we have epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and other texts teaching us how to live scientifically, how to behave with other peoples, how to use the science to separate the inhuman activities. Many leaders, many movements encourage the scientific tempers, develop the humanism and the reforms in our attitudes. If you do anything, before you should ask a few questions. Why? what, when, how. If we are raise the questions before doing our activities, we can get the clarity about our actions. Our fundamental duty is also encouraged. If you do anything before, you should ask the scientific questions. Why, how, why, when. If you raise the questions, you can get the clear cut ideas about your actions. That will help to bring our India at a global levels. Safeguard public property and to the violence. With respect to all the political parties, pressure groups, and other organizations are encourage the youths, their their own members to involve in the violent activities to occupy the chair or get some benefits. We are in the democratic countries. We have the right to demonstrate, organize processions, organize dharnas and others. But we are in the democratic countries. We use the democratically these uh, processions to get some benefits from the governments. In this situation, most of the political parties, pressure groups, and other organizations damage the public property. They are involved in the encourage the youth in the violence activities. This is not good method to get benefits from the government. We are in the democratic countries. But many of the people do not know, those who are involved in the damaging the public property and violence. If you are damaging anything of our public property, again the government rectify it with the help of our tax money. That property also established with the help of our tax money. After damage, the government again it is repaired with the help of our tax money. But we are the taxpayer. We are directly and indirectly pay our tax. With the help of our tax, the government maintain the property. So we should not, if you want anything, we approach the government or authorities through peaceful means, not damage the public property and inflame the violence. Then 10. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individuals and collective activities. Before 10 years before Abdul Kalam, you know very well about former President of India, who encouraged we will obtain the superpower status in 2020. For that, we should work. Now, the present government encourages we will obtain the superpower status coming 2030. The situations we have traditional technology, we have modern technology. Why we expect the technologies from other countries? We have all types of traditional and modern technologies. With the help of these two technologies, we should properly use our natural resources and human resources to achieve the excellence in all spheres of our activities. We can establish our government, we can establish a good governance with the help of using the traditional and the modern technologies in all spheres of our collective and individual activities. Last, the parents or the guardians to provide the opportunity for education to his children as the case may be what between age of 6 to 14 years. This is latest fundamental duties which was included in our Indian constitution through 86 Constitution as amendment in 2002. Why our parliamentarians include the 11th fundamental duties in our constitution, in the fundamental duties? We are in the globalization period. We invite the most of the foreign countries to do business, establish factories in our country. We want to be a skilled labor. Education is one of the criteria to provide a skilled labor to the foreign companies. This is one. Another one aspect. Most of people, nearly 40% of the people are living below poverty line. They are not able to properly guide the children to do their educational activities. In these situations, the government encourage, if the student join school in the 6-year old up to 14 years, it's a compulsory education. Parents and guardians must give the compulsory education to their children up to 15 years old. These are the fundamental rights we have. How can we use the fundamental rights to provide good governance? Our fundamental duties are reflect the preamble of our constitutions. The first sentence: we the people of India, even though we belong to variety of religion, caste, language, but we feel ourselves, we the people of India, which is borrowed from the United States of American Constitution. Then our state, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic states. Why our constitutional framers include these five in the constitution to promote the fundamental duties? First, sovereign state. Already I told you, sovereign is a supreme power. We the people are sovereign. Socialist. There are three types of economic patterns: communism, capitalism, socialism. We are following socialism pattern, but America and other countries following the capitalist form, where the profit is not divided by all. This profit is divided by the owner, goes to owners. The state is not involved in the economic activities in developed countries. In communist countries, the profit is distributed to all. But in India, both private and government involved in the developmental activities. So we are following socialism patterns. Our tax system is also proved that if we have sufficient money, you must pay the tax through as a direct tax, and if you have the buying or selling capacity, you indirectly pay the tax to our government. This shows the socialism pattern. Secular country. For example, Nepal is a Hindu nation, Pakistan is a Muslim Islam country, Israel is a Christianity country. Even though we have more than 8 religions, our constitution not uphold any particular religions. We give the opportunity to all the religions. Even though the Hindus are majority in India, but the constitution not hold any particular religion. It gives the opportunity to all the religious people. Then democratic. We are in the democratic country. If without any discrimination, without any form of discrimination, racial discrimination, caste discrimination, religious discrimination, lingual discrimination, sex discrimination, we give our opportunity to all the people, those who are past 18 years old, are eligible for casting their vote. This is a democracy. Republic. The republic, there are two types of republics. American republics is the head is directly or indirectly elected by the people. In USA, they are all following the republic form of government. Their head of the state, the president of USA, is directly elected by the people. But in India, we are elect our president of India through our people's representatives. How can use the fundamental rights to establish a good governance? The people must involve three processes. One is policy making, policy implementing, and the policy evaluation. If the people of India actively involved in the policy making, policy implementing, and the policy evaluating, when the time our fundamental duties will be functioning well. Otherwise, we cannot establish our good governance in India situation. The policy makings. Policy making means in India, the parliament, state legislature, in local governments, village panchayat, Grama Sabha, all are involved in the policy making process. We the people, we must involve up to their level best, we involve in the policy making process. If we are all are involved in the policy making process, we will bring a very good laws in the parliament, very good laws, people who are oriented laws in the state legislature and even in village Gram Sabha. And we the people actively concentrate the policy implementation process. The civil servant, from top level civil servant, the lower level village administrative officers are involved in the policy implementing process by the policy and the laws. The policy implementers, if you are give our full support to them, they are properly implement the policy for our benefits. If we are not give our concentration at the time of policy implementing, we will not get proper implementations. And policy evaluation, whatever the policies the government enacted and implemented, we the people involved in the policy evaluation process. Neutrally, we should evaluate the policy, not use our caste, religion, race, language. We should neutrally judge the policy. Based on that policy, we should cast our vote. When that time, we can establish a good governance in India.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Devanathan, sir. I think we can take a short break. The first session is going again. And after the first technical section is over by the resource person, and after you can raise questions with the resource person is ready. Now I'm going to end the technical session. Please log in with the same user ID and password. Thank you. Is up. So once again, welcome all the participants. We are entering into the second technical session. The session will go 15 minutes or 10 minutes for concluding remarks of the resource person, Dr. D. Devanathan. So after the concluding remarks, if you want to raise any questions, you can raise. Now it's over to Dr. D. Devanathan.
Everybody wants to establish a good governance, and we want to obtain the status of superpower in future. So we should keenly recognize, understand the fundamental duties, and up to the level best, we should work together with fundamental duties. We can achieve the status of good governance and superpower status in future. I have no doubt. Before, we should keenly involve the three process: policy making, policy implementing, and the policy evaluation process for the benefits of us. Irrespective of all the governments introduce many schemes, many programs, many plan for us. But most of the schemes, programs are failure because of the committees identified. After the end of the plan programs scheme, the government appoint a committee to scrutinize the result of the committees. The committee, most of the committees submitted their reports. They identified three important aspects. One is why these schemes were failure. One is corruption. Second is cumbersome procedures. And third is lack of people participation. If we give the full participation, people's participation in law making, in law implementing, and law establishing, when the time we can avoid and eradicate the corruption and avoid the cumbersome procedures, and we encourage the full people's participation. In these situations, through this program, I encourage, request you to actively involve in these three process. When the time we will establish a good governance. Fundamental duties help us to establish a good governance and superpower status in future. Thank you.